let's just recap here, right? So, what is all outstanding assignment-wise? We have a problem set that's due Sunday. That's now 31 to 56. I pushed the review into next week's problem set, so that's one less thing you have to worry about putting together. I pushed the chapter 1 test back one class period because the A people were going to have it on Monday where there's mass, and I didn't want the test on a shortened schedule. And rather than switch the sequencing and have you guys before, I just moved everybody's test back a day or a class period. So that's now going to happen on Wednesday and Thursday for A and B's. Does that sound okay? So on Tuesday for us, we'll just start chapter 2, and then the test will be, no chapter 2 stuff will be on the test, just chapter 1, but that'll be Thursday is the chapter 1 test. Everybody's cool with that? And then the homework for next Sunday would then be 57 to 66 in the review packet, so the last of chapter 1 stuff, and then the review packet for chapter 1 will be next Sunday's homework assignment. All that stuff is up on My Notre Dame. We also have a Delta Math assignment. I think I set that to close like 8 a.m. on Monday or something, so we can do you'll have some time today to work on things, and if you don't get it done today, you can finish it kind of at your leisure there. You have a big window of time to do that. So I know there's a football game tonight and band people and everything. I'm sure of a bunch of commitments right after school through the football game. So let's just stretch those due dates out a little bit. No big deal. As well as obviously the football team, right? Like you guys have, I'm sure, stuff all day after school till the football game, right? So does that feel pretty fair to everybody due dates wise? Izzy? Question? No. Chanel. Esau is, I don't know. I got nothing.
That's okay.
It's Friday.
So for the Delta Math, is it accuracy or?
So what I'm looking for is the same setup as before. So on the Delta Math assignment, you get 2 attempts per question. If both your attempts are wrong, it just boots you to a new question. I'm not going to be worried about the right and wrong on the Delta Math. I'm just going to look for 10 correct responses. In however many attempts it takes you to get there is fine. So once it says at the top, it should say 0 out of 10 and you get one right, it'll be 1 out of 10. You get one wrong, it stays 1 out of 10, and you just go until you have 10 out of 10. Okay, so the wrongs don't matter.
Because for me,
I know that it's keeping track of the wrongs somehow, but I'm not looking at that. I'm just looking at the completion.
Yeah, okay.
So I know it's telling you that it's giving you a percentage or something, and don't worry about that percentage. I don't care about that.
Yeah.
Okay. I would tell you beforehand, before we started doing the Delta Maths, if I cared about right and wrong. And I do not. I mean, I do, but you're not penalized for the wrongs, right? It's not a quiz. It's homework, so it's supposed to be giving you feedback and helping you learn. So getting things wrong is okay. So everybody feels okay with the dates on everything. I think that if you ever have a question, My Notre Dame, I try to do as good a job as I possibly can keeping that thing up to date. So if you're worried about what to do when, go and look at My Notre Dame. The dates there should match up, and the times and everything should match up on that, and that should be okay. I don't think I have anything else. We talked about the test format and everything yesterday, right? Number of questions, types of questions did we do that?
No.
Okay, well, we need to do that then, right? Mr. Gulick, how am I supposed to study if I don't know what I'm studying for? Well, you know what, like, yeah, I guess, right? That seems, like a thing you'd probably want to know. All right, do that. All right. Okay, 2 questions. You'll have to find the domain, and then you have to give your answer as an interval notation. Two questions where you have to do odd, even, or neither. You have to do that algebraically. So like a drawing of the graph doesn't hack it. You have to do the like what we did in the notes with the f of negative x stuff. Two questions whether something is a function or not. Four questions that are plus, minus, times, divide, and composition of two functions. So I might ask for the sum, the difference, the product, the quotient, the composition of two functions. Everybody's cool with what I mean by that? I'm just trying to write some notes, Chanel.
Wait, I'm sorry, what do you mean by that?
Come on. So like, do this. So stuff like this question 6 from the review,
Oh.
just stuff like that. Okay, let's see. So 2 questions are asking you to write the inverse. Now, if I give you the function as a graph, I expect the inverse as a graph. If I give you the function as an equation, I expect the inverse to be written as an equation. If I give you this as a mapping diagram, I expect the inverse to be a mapping diagram. You know, like in the same form of whatever I give you is what I want the inverse written as. Everybody's okay with that? I think in the notes we looked at a bunch of different examples of how to do that in each of the different forms. So one question we're asking you to show that 2 functions are inverses. How do we do that? Yeah, you got to do this, right? That's what we need to do that. So if one question where I give you a parent function and the resultant function, and then ask you to describe the transformation in order. One question where I give you so I'm going to give you the parent function and like a step-by-step transformation. And I want you to give me back the resultant function. So by that, I mean I'm going to give you the transformations, maybe not in the order that they'd occur, like take the parent function, reflect it, and then shift it, and then stretch it, or whatever. So I'm going to give it to you in like not the normal order, so you have to go one at a time on them. Do you know what I mean? I think we did an example like this in the notes. And then the last question, I'm going to give you a parent function as a graph, and and then ask you to and then the equation for the resultant function, and then ask you to graph the resultant and give me and describe the transformation in words. In the right order, of course. I think we did, this is like one of the I think this is like the last example problem in the notes, basically, where I gave you the function as a graph and then asked to graph the transformation, where you can't just punch stuff through to get the function's graph. You have to actually like transform the points. Any questions about test format here? I tried to be pretty specific here for the first time through for you guys as to what you'll have to be able to do. Okay. Anything else you feel like you need from me in order to be successful about any of this stuff coming up? Just some time to work on things. Okay, why don't you guys take the remainder of our time here in class, work on whatever's the highest priority thing to you. I'm just going to be sitting up here doing my own work, so if you have questions on things, feel free to come up and ask about them. You can interrupt me, but that's not a big deal. I don't mind being interrupted. It's not really interrupting because it's kind of my job. All right. Cool. Go ahead and get crack-a-lack and